So I support it 100%. And I've had conversations with the police chief, I've had conversations with county deputies, I've had conversations with state troopers. They support it 100% as well. So, I mean, I personally would rather put up with the consequences that I have to face legally than go to a funeral for one of our crew, because I couldn't defend him and I couldn't protect him.
Agree. Even beyond that, there is legislation right now that is being debated that would actually waive us from the pistol-free zones that, as a firefighter, police officer, corrections officer, the pistol-free zones would no longer apply. So the argument of, well, if you're going into a church, you have to disarm prior to going in, blah, 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 would not apply for anybody that is police, fire, or EMS. And it's literally a daily occurrence that we get secret list emails and Fire Nation emails of guys who are being assaulted, injured, shot, whatever, without that opportunity for retreat.
Yeah, I wholeheartedly agree with them. I'm coming from somebody, I don't have a pistol myself, I don't carry it all, and to know that somebody who can be trained to protect me, yeah, absolutely, absolutely.
Okay, now I ask the board.
Well, I guess my first question is, like for Ron, is the term pistol, I mean, is that basically what you do carry?
Yes.
Versus a firearm? I mean, because...
Well, a firearm could be considered a long gun.
Yeah.
And yes, typically for your concealed carry, with your license, you carry, most guys will carry, and gals will carry a compact or a subcompact, semi-automatic or revolver. So it would be a pistol, yes.
It is a concealed pistol license.
Yes.
And pistol is defined in the statute as such.
Right. Yep.
So we don't want, what I said, if we're gonna prohibit, let's prohibit bazookas,
Long
AK-47s,
guns,
in
yes.
addition to the,
Correct.
into the pistols. But if we're going to permit, then let's only permit pistols.
If that law, Shannon, is not, I mean, you say that they're looking at going into zone-free areas. As it stands right now, if we had a fire in a school or a church, what would be that position?
Right now, it would be secured and locked. If I personally had one, because I'll typically go direct on fire. So if it was on my possession, then it would be secured in my vehicle once we got there, which by law is good. I think what Shannon's referring to, if anybody wants to look into, this House Bill 5960. That's the new verbiage that they're trying to get in there for firefighters, first responders, whether it be EMTs, responding to medicals, or whatever. So,
And it doesn't require in commission of duties either. So I mean, if we
Right.
were just at a church, for Sunday services, rather than called to the church, it's not in the commission of your duties.
because they would consider you on duty 24/7, just like law enforcement.
That's in the bill,
That's it.
but I'm looking at it as it stands right now.
As it stands right now, there are pistol-free zones for everybody but law enforcement. So, and even if they change the verbiage in House Bill 5960, you're still not gonna be allowed to carry in airports, federal buildings, casinos, places like that. There's still gonna be 2 or 3, maybe a half dozen pistol-free zones, so.
So how would we address that, Mr. Lessman?
We comply with all the provision, the first bullet point I have in the outline there is comply with all government requirements and regulations. Would be that, and those are obviously, and I agree with the chief, that that's in flux in the legislature, and to predict what this legislature is going to do,
Yeah.
I don't know. They may retract the whole thing, or they may open it all up, who knows what it is, but at least we know that the first thing is you gotta comply with the state law and whatever federal regulations there might be and the like.
In option 2, would it be of value to include that anybody with a concealed license registers it with the fire chief? So it's on record?
Well, we could add that on there, but it's implicit. If you want to carry it, you're going to agree to
You have to sign that.
this agreement, and that would imply, and we can just put down there that they have the, well, it's a little bit redundant, but we can provide that.
Along with the form that you would be looking to have the membership sign, would it be beneficial to get a copy of their CPL and put it in the file with that?
Well, that would show that they legitimately have one.
Right, rather than just, oh yeah, I got one, and sign off on it.
That's what I was
Yeah,
looking for.
that's kind of where I picked up on that.
And, you know, and you have, what, a 3-year renewal?
The 5-year.
Or 5-year
Yeah.
product.
But it's no different than what we do with their personal vehicles as far as the documentation,
Right.
because now we're doing annual inspections on the personal vehicles that are running lights and sirens. So we get a current registration and a current proof of insurance to have on file for them, so it's just
Maintain it.
proof that they have it, so.
Okay, I'll turn it over to the board. Any questions, comments?
My thought is if we do this, I think they should have the advanced training and the twice yearly testing on the
And
gun
then-
range. But the advanced training,
Then if you're gonna require that, is the authority gonna put it into the training budget?
well, that's, I'm just saying.
Right, no, and
it would
I'm
have
not
to go into the
disagreeing by any
budget,
means.
Yeah,
And
But
does
it's
that
gonna
make
be
it
required.
the liability of the authority then?
Pardon me?
I was just going,
that's a different,
Well,
what we're doing is we're just saying that, yes, you can carry it. If we start training and, you know,
And we become
have
responsible.
negligent training and negligent supervision, we're just saying, we're letting you do it in a safe manner, comply with all the rules, waive us from liability, and I don't want to play a, who is it, Pontius Pilate? What is when I wash my hands of the deal or so on? We want to limit our involvement in that.
so we would have absolutely no liability if something went wrong at a scene?
Wrong. I can never say we will absolutely have no liability. I would, you know, it just wouldn't be. There's always a Jeffrey Feiger or somebody out.
Yeah.
Are we recording?
yeah.
There's always, there's always an attorney there. And I will tell you, most recently, I've gotten some of the, or ran across some really goofy lawsuits, whether those guys are starving out there or not. Basically, if we follow this format, I think the insurance company will be happy, and I think to the extent possible, we are protected. I would feel comfortable with that. But no guarantees. You'll always have a lawsuit, they'll sue you, we have to go to court, get you out of the lawsuit because you have, you know, your immunities or other things like that, and
So you're saying we would go to court, so that you, the township would back me up if I was being sued?
you, as members of the board, of course, they would back you up.
Yeah,
There's-
it's in our charter.
Yeah, and basically what is, and you are, in terms of status, not in terms of physical condition, the highest appointed governmental officials in this particular area, and you would have carte blanche immunity as such. There is a great immunity unless you're criminal in your actions. Kwame Kilpatrick did not have immunity, but, you know, short of that, you would have immunity, and the insurance company would represent you in that and provide the defense for you. And if they don't, we'll arrange to make sure you are
The
defended.
insurance?
Other comments?
Sure.
Sounds like we're
Dave,
good.
Tim?
I'm fine with it. Sounds like
So then,
there was no major repercussions on the insurance side. I think that was an initial concern. So,
do I have a motion then to approve
Do you think we
option?
should go back to the,
I think we
Board?
should take it back to the board.
Little
first
township
and
board?
Let them,
I think,
because this, one of the policies is that for the public should know. And if you don't give
They're
the,
gonna know if
you
it's on
don't give
camera.
the, at least the board should, you know, be knowledgeable on what's going on with this kind of agreement.
well, we can inform them on it.
I don't know, that's gonna end up to be a long, drawn out, I'm not looking forward to that. We can let it go back to the boards, but
I
I think
think
it
we
should go to
could,
the
we
board.
could take action here and then report to the boards so that they're informed.
I just think if you take it back to the board, you're always gonna have somebody that's gonna object, and having been at Winford Gyms.
I think it should go back.
I don't foresee my board objecting. I don't think they're gonna have an issue
Well,
with
it
it.
just-
I think they're gonna be fine with whatever we do.
What do you think our board would say?
I don't think they would object to it knowing all the facts. I can't speak for them, but
about this.
But that's
Yeah.
just one more month, I mean, to go through one more meeting of the board.
This is the fourth month we've talked about this.
Yeah, but this is the first time I got a copy of the actually what we're gonna vote on or whatever.
So what happens if you come back and your board says, we object? And I know there's gonna be at least one or two that are gonna do that.
Then if the board objects, then I'll probably, I'd have to vote no here. If there's still more people that agree, then it'll go through. But if our board happens to disagree, that's, you know, I feel I have to vote what the board recommends. That's the way I see it. So, but you know, I personally, I really don't have any problems with it. I think it sounds pretty good, but I'd feel a lot better if the board as a whole and the public has a little more knowledge before we go do the vote.
And what procedure are you gonna use to let the public know? So I would imagine at your board meeting, if it's like the city, you have 10 people there, 5 people there.
Well, if it gets put in the minutes, in my opinion, then the public knows. Whether they know or not is not the question. It is that we're trying to let the public know. Otherwise, it can look like we're just trying to pull something over on people. So.
I'm good with voting on it today. My board appoints me to represent them. That's what I'm here to do.
Make a motion.
I'll make that motion.
Could we add to that, though,
You need a
that
second
we
to that
get their,
discussion.
We'll get a copy of the CPL attached to the form.
Make sure your motion is what you want.
okay,
Okay.
do I have a second to that motion?
So, what did you add to his motion, or
Just
what?
that the firefighters are required to turn in their CPL license to be,
But a copy goes on
The
file.
copy goes
Keep
on
a
file.
current one on file?
Correct.
Is that what you're saying?
That's my motion.
I'll support it.
No, thanks.
Okay, any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
I
I would be.
Okay, it
I
passes.
think it should go to the
And it's
board.
just because it hasn't went back to the board yet. I don't feel comfortable agreeing with it. Not that I have a problem with it, I think it's 100% good, but I haven't went to the board, so.
Okay, well, at this point, it passes.
Well, let us know if they're that strongly against it anyways.
Well, like any other policy, what you give, you can take away. You know, if you revisit it and you find out that there's bad experience with it, you can always change that policy.
Trump has said that. I've heard. Okay, Ron, if you'd like to give us an update, you and Shannon, on the grant status?
Jim, before you go to that, Ron, do you want me to prepare a fancy release for you, for your file, so that you can use that to copy?
Yeah, if you'd like to, that, yeah. I mean,
I'll do a form, a release form containing these things
Yeah,
for
'cause I
you.
haven't seen the release form that you have done up already, so.
Well, I prepared it for the board, and, you know, I don't give out stuff unless the board says okay.
Thank you.
Okay, then Ron, if you could give us a status on the grants. I know we applied for 2 grants.
If it's okay with you, I'll refer that to Shannon because he's the one that's been working on those and he's got the knowledge of what's
That's
going on.
fine.
No change.
Well, that would be-
We've got the community fund grant out for the replacement of our utility truck. And we have a look grant out for the replacement of the skid system in the brush unit, skid system for the existing brush unit. And then FEMA grant, we are going into week 4, still no word from those guys yet as to up or down on that, so that could be as long out as September.
If I might, I do sit on the look committee. Last Wednesday they met and the fire department was not granted any money. we only had $8,000, so $4,000 went
We
to
asked
Boy
for five,
Scouts. And $4,000 went to the Bean Observatory.
And that was a brush fund for the local?
That was the replacement skid system in the brush
Okay.
unit, so I think we asked for 5,000 on that, with a $4,000.
$5,146 there.
Yes,
Okay.
Boy Scouts.
great.
So, sorry.
So we'll cross our fingers on the truck one, because that's probably the more important one.
Yeah, we'll cross our fingers.
My old friend and mentor Ted Kennedy told me, I'll drive off that bridge when I come.
Yeah.
Okay, we discussed this last month, and people were gonna take it back to their boards, and that was whether to charge for inspections or not.
Oh, yeah. And 30 years.
So, the overwhelming response,
Well, I don't think it's an overwhelming response.
because there certainly is a cost for the fire department to do that. I would think that any commercial entity would expect some type of fee to get inspected. But then it's a question, does that, if we do charge a fee, does that revert back to the municipality or the fire department?
I think our feeling is, you know, the more fair way to do it would be to send it to the municipality, and then, you know, they can do with it what they want. If they choose to charge back the business, great. If they choose to, you know, just pay it out of the business's taxes, you know what I'm saying? Then we do it that way.
Do we have a feel for what an average inspection would be, Shannon?
Between $25 and $75, again, depending on the frequency and the size of the facilities. We're not looking at reinventing anything. We're already, you guys are already paying for the inspections through, you know, through the budget under the payroll portions of it. I'll speak for me, I can't speak for all of us, but I would think that it would definitely be, if you're gonna move forward with it, it's something that the municipalities would have to themselves handle, the collection, the billing, because if we all of a sudden have to handle the collection, the billing and all that,
Yeah.
we're gonna need more hours and so on and so forth.
That's why I'm saying if you tracked it,
Right.
send it to us, so
So
we can track it.
So the departments, the very few departments that I talk to that do have some sort of a collection system that helps to cover those funds, it's just an annual business licensing fee. So if you have a business in your township or municipality, they pay an annual business licensing fee, and that's what helps to offset those.
Who has that?
Norton Shores is one that does an annual business licensing fee. Saugatuck charges for absolutely everything.
Okay, we don't want to be like them.
Are there other things underneath that category of business?
Yeah, so
Thank you, guys.
part of the information gets sent out.
Camera, you know. I'll stand by that.
It's an information collection for the assessor's department as well, so that they know who owns the business, who owns the building, who's occupying the building, if there's a use tax for the tenant versus the owner, like in Norton Shores, that case, there's an information sheet so that both the fire department and the assessor department are getting that information, and again, it helps offset both those costs.
Is that being done by any of the municipalities right now? Would that be helpful information to the entity to have some of that other information?
Is there a use tax in any of the municipalities for the occupants of rental facilities?
Could I ask, do you also monitor who has hazardous substances in
Have
there?
to, yeah.
So do we have a central address file in the city and in the township, so whether it's the police, fire, building, can access a particular location to say, okay, this is the use over there, they've got, I don't know, hydrochloric acid stored. and all
We're
of that.
required to maintain files for,
But you keep that file, does the police department, for example, do they have access or do they have to call you?
they would have to call it or FOIA that information. And I'll, yeah, that will all be do with.
That's all done through the Sarah Title III there, right?
Correct.
So each,
Firefighter rate, no act in Sarah Title III.
yeah, Sarah Title III, every business that has anything like that, Lowell Light and Power included, we have to fill out a form annually for Sarah Title III, and it gets submitted through the state, and then it gets submitted to the fire departments.
And the state has changed some of those chemical requirements over the last few years, so a lot of, like the farms and things that had reporting requirements in the past aren't actually, they don't have enough quantities now that they're required to report all that stuff. Most of what we have in our area is battery acid, basically, from large-scale backup battery systems. That's our largest chemical issue.
I would think it would behoove the municipalities to have a business license and get all that information and have it all available. And use the fire, kind of the fire department to be a source to disperse that information. And then the inspection would be included in that.
When a business opens, you're notified.
Sometimes. Most of the time we drive by and see it.
More frequently now than we have been in the past, yes.
Absolutely, absolutely, yes. The building departments have done a significant increase in sharing of information. 6 years ago, when I first started doing this, I would have to call the building departments when I see a permit come up somewhere. Now I'm actually getting notified of the plans prior to permits even being issued, so.
A perfect example of that is with Ronda Tire being built over at 1351 Bowes Road. I believe it was Sue already sent me the site plans and everything for it, and the different variations. I mean, it's changed substantially over the last 5 or 6 years, so.
I require that the planning commission make sure that site plans get to him to see for building plans going forward.
And it's, with the ones that I've received so far, it's working out very well.
So, in seeing that, I'm saying that because I think all of our stuff is separated and put together, you know what I mean? If you want to see all the businesses in Virgins Township, I think that could be pulled very readily, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. You don't have a lot of the
No.
strip mall type facilities that individual, and again, if the city doesn't have it either, where they're paying use tax for the individual storefronts, then I don't know what benefit they'd have for that assessor information. The property owner, I'm sure, is probably already booked to the city assessor information.
Well, from what I'm hearing, charging for an inspection is kind of a dead bet.
No, I think we'd like to see the accounting back to us and even the charge back to us, and then we'll take it from there. You know?
Yeah, to each municipality.
Yeah, and then we can decide if we want to
Break
charge
it down
back
to by
the business, or if we just want to eat it, you know what I'm saying?
How do you feel about that?
I agree with that. Good. Yeah.
We can look at that.
So.
All right, then let's make a motion, let's come up with a,
Okay, set like a timeline, say a year from now, we'll review what the hours were, the numbers for municipality. Because in our system, I can break that down by hour, by municipality, facility numbers, so on and so forth.
Yeah, what works best for you? If it's quarterly, you know, monthly, quarterly, annually?
I think
what
if we
you're gonna do?
started an annual run, that would give you guys a full view of what we're doing on an annual basis. Because again, starting July, there'll be 2 of us on a regular basis, so I think that'll give you a little better, clearer picture of everything.
And they'll need it by address rather than a lump sum. So that Tim can bill out if he wishes.
Well, I think all you're looking to do right now is just to see what the total time and inspections are in your municipality, right?
Well, I thought we were gonna see
Well, I can do that too if you want.
what it's costing.
How big's your server? I can send it all over to you.
Probably should have the.
That was my understanding. We were gonna take a look at it.
It'll be like a bill coming
Each
to us.
municipality.
Sure. Yep, no problem. We can do,
You know,
we
so
can
if
do it
you-
facility by facility if you want to.
what I would suggest is as you do inspections, you do a list, submit that to Sue once a month, and she disperses it to
Sure.
the 3 municipalities.
Yep, we can do that.
I mean, I don't know how you're working through it. Of course, if it's a new business, ideally, you're there and you see it on the startup, on the front end and stuff. If it's an existing business, you have a schedule, you know, like our
Correct.
assessor working through areas of the township.
So the new businesses, we typically get brought in on the final with the building inspector. We go through the alarm system. I have worked with the building inspector for Cascade Township. Any new application for a building permit is going to require a Knox box be installed on any of the commercial complexes for anything within the areas that Cascade covers. So I think it's both your township, correct? Or City and Township. The new business inspection, like I said, is right at the end. We do the fire alarm, we do the walkthrough with the building department, and then from that point forward, we do either an annual or biannually, depending on whether they have cooking or not, walkthrough, and then if we have to do any follow-ups. So that's where,
But on the front end of the new project, we could build that into the permit. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
We could line that out on the permit,
yep,
You
yeah,
know,
absolutely.
$150, $100, whatever it is, and then that's easy. You know, that's right.
Does everybody know what a Knox box is?
We've talked about it several times, but I'll refresh if you want. Knox box is they coin it as an impenetrable box that gets mounted to the exterior of a commercial building that we are the only ones that have a key for, that has access cards or keys for that particular facility inside. If we get called for an alarm or, you know, passerby believes they saw a fire inside, instead of us breaking out a door or a window, there's a key on our truck, unlock the box, we have access to the buildings, go through and do the inspections. On our more regular fire alarm facilities, we can get in quicker and do a quick inspection and find out whether there was an actual cause for the fire versus waiting 30 to 40 minutes or sometimes longer for a key holder to get there.
Okay, do I have a motion for putting together a fee for inspections?
Well, my view is that it's a cost pass-through. It's not really a fee, it's that they're, so, you know, I would be under the
It would be a fee
inclination to
the
motion that the fire department bill to the municipality the cost of the inspections.
Okay,
as they
that's
do
what I
them.
meant, not the fee to the end user. Are you making that as a motion?
Yeah, I'll make that as one. Does that make sense?
We ought to
It makes
include,
sense
we ought
to
to
you
include in there,
guys.
Tim, what that fee ought to be, so.
It ought to be the cost of the inspection. Small business might be, like you said, $35, $50. Large business might be a half a day or a day.
Right.
You know. So
Well, I think we ought to include that in the motion as to what the fees would be.
You thinking about putting a cap on it type thing?
No,
Yeah,
I was just thinking cost. That's my fee.
Well, I don't
Cost.
think you have a cost per se, other than your time.
That's what it is.
Yeah.
Yeah, So they figure
You
out,
can't put it in there.
so they figure out what they have into it, you know, based on their time and stuff.
Yeah.
It's not gonna be a flat rate.
Okay.
That's my, is that workable?
I'll send you whatever you need here.
When would these people know how much they're gonna be billed? Is it gonna be at the end of the inspection or what?
Well, we're not talking about billing the end user business. We're talking about basically submitting what our fee is for each inspection, our expense for each inspection to the municipalities, more for record keeping.
And then the municipality can develop a policy or
This
decide.
this would require that the
Yep.
municipalities pass an ordinance
Right.
to collect those funds. We could, I don't think we could necessarily do
Sitting
that.
on this, I think it was, yeah, policy decision, council for this stuff.
I support Tim's motion.
Okay, any discussion, further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, Ron, you want to give us an update on your BioCare program?
I would, yes. We had gotten a call from Jeremy and from Ryan. All we have to do now is move forward with the agreement, which I
Jeremy
heard
and Ryan are who?
they are the representatives from BioCare.
Okay.
And they Jeremy contacted me the other day via email, and I told him that once we got through our meeting this evening, that I would look at the agreement, do a digital signature on it, and move forward. At this time, we are looking at the first week of August to start the physicals. They're gonna be here actually on, I believe it is August 1st, and then they're gonna be in Plainfield August 2nd. So they're gonna be in the area for that, it sounds like at least a week, if not 2 weeks. The first 2 weeks of August, in the area doing the physicals and getting everything taken care of. So the guys will be starting here, I believe it's at 1 PM on the 1st of August. And we'll get as many people put through that day as we can. And if they can't do it here, then we'll move them around to different locations. So yeah, 1st of August, we're moving forward with it. Looking good. What's that?
And it's open for other departments?
Correct.
to Whatever works, wherever the locations
Correct.
are and stuff?
Yes.
It's
Yep.
all the flat rate? or-
Yep, all the travel times are eliminated at this point with a cost, I think it was a savings of almost $700, right around there for us. And the same as for the other departments that are gonna participate in it, so. Yeah, so the first week or first 2 weeks of August, they're gonna be in our general area where people will be able to go and get it taken care of, so we'll move forward.
And the members are aware that their participation, or that their membership may be subject to the outcome of the,
Existing policy that
Yeah.
requires it to take a physical
Okay.
when
Yep.
necessary.
So, and they're, a couple of them are a little apprehensive, but once I sat down and talked with them, about it, said, it doesn't matter how your blood work comes back, because that was a big fear that a couple of them had. Well, if my blood work comes back that I have high cholesterol or anything like, it doesn't affect it. We're gonna get a report that says fit for duty, not fit for duty. The results of the blood tests and things like that are not gonna play into it.
that's how it comes back, fit or not fit.
Correct. They will get a detailed response in a sealed envelope to each individual to let them know what the results and stuff were. We, as the command staff here, or as the authority, we're not gonna see those results. All we're gonna get is a thumbs up or a thumbs down.
Okay, that's good.
The explanation will go to each individual, it will not come to the department.
And if there's something critical that needs their immediate attention, one of their docs or their nurses will actually call
The
them.
doctor will actually call them and let them know.
You need to go to primary care because we found this.
Is this annual?
Correct.
Correct.
So this should be completed by, it'll start the first week of August and be completed by,
End of the first week of
End of the first week, end of the second, by the latest, mid-August. So
Okay.
once we get
Results are
everybody
quick.
cycled through with the different
Yeah.
locations where they're gonna be, yeah.
now do you have to submit those results to the insurance company or,
We need to maintain a record,
Yep.
and when they come through for our annual, he'll just ask if we're doing physical
Okay.
awareness.
Yep. And
Good.
we'll have that documentation to show that we got a thumbs up or a thumbs down or whatever. Yeah.
great. Okay, we'll go to new business. The first one I put on here, because I think everybody in the board's aware, we had, fire department's had a run this last month that's been pretty big, at least 3 large fires, all outside the city area that had no fire hydrants.
Correct.
I noticed the ones I went to that we had one truck, which was number 6, that was sitting in backup. And some further discussions I had with some people, we were talking about it. Again, the one thing that Lowell's always missing is the tanker. We usually have to, if it's like out at the horse barn, we had to rely on Alto or Cascade or whoever.
And, yes, Alto and Cascade.
So in talking to some people, I asked what the number 6 is due to be retired in 2 years, or that's what's scheduled for. The thought was, or what was mentioned was there may be a residual value in that piece of equipment now, which might allow us to sell that thing early, since we're not utilizing it. But we haven't utilized it in some of the big fires we've had here. My thought was maybe we look at seeing we could optimize a resale value on that, and then apply it toward a tanker, which is at least a much lesser cost. So that was just my thought. we might discuss that. Ron, you have any thoughts on that?
There's always a need for a tender, and it's the same as what you're referring to as the tanker. Of course, they changed the verbiage here a few years back, but the tender, yeah, there's always a need for it. We had, at the fire on Lincoln Lake, we had the 2 engines of ours sitting up front, but I believe the amount of water that we had in series hooked up in the driveway was about 12,000 gallons. So, on Lincoln Lake. Oh, yeah, well, they had them all hooked up in series, so they were just kind of feeding each other, you know, so it was really nice. Yeah, I mean, if you have the capabilities of hauling more water like that with a tender or tanker, you know, the 3,000 to 4,000 gallons, there's a multitude of things that it helps. It helps the ISO ratings, you know, for the insurance carriers, for the homeowners. So there's definitely more pros than there are cons. When we get called for a mutual aid for our crew to go assist with that, whether it be Alto, Ada, you know, if Saranac calls us or whatever, we don't show up with near the amount of water. I mean, we can get a couple more guys there than what we would normally get with that cab capacity, but as far as the water goes, you know, we don't bring them to the party like everybody else does, so.
So the horse farm fire, we pumped through 36,000 gallons of water. The first 2 engines in the driveway was ours and Alto's. We deployed 3-inch lines and started fire attack and drained both those trucks down before we had additional water, because we laid 1,900 feet of 5-inch supply line, which holds about 100 gallons per section, and our next in truck only has 1,250 gallons. So we didn't have enough to fill the supply line to get us additional water to the fire combat until we had additional apparatus hooked up. Where if we had 3,000 gallons, obviously, you know, we'd had water to fill the line plus reserve. The fire side of the tender is definitely the biggest advantage, but the other advantage to it can also be, we're going to be moving a $250,000 truck for a car accident with 2 guys on it versus a $500,000 truck to a car accident that would haul 4 guys, where we can get the job done with just the 6 of us in most cases. We can use that truck for more than just running structure fires. I know you guys as the check writers don't want to hear it, but we use those trucks as blockers too. If somebody hits something that's got 3,000 gallons, it's not going nearly as far as somebody hits something that's got 1,200 gallons. It is a lot less expensive to repair and replace if it does get hit and totaled versus a $500,000 engine sitting out there on the roadway blocking the road.
Can we talk about the usage of number 6 overall in the last couple of years?
It's had a rotation, 6 and 3 rotate. I mean, if 3 rolls out on a call, then we move 6 forward, so they kind of alternate 50-50 on when they go out the door. The reason that we talk about number 6 is because number 3 is the county truck. So, I mean, you can't jump ahead of anything as far as the rotation on the county truck. But, yeah, I mean, they get rotated in the bay, so.
6 has been the one who has, the truck that has had the most repairs as of
Correct.
recent.
Yep. But if somebody calls us for mutual aid on a call, and they're within our county, then engine 3 is the one that's gonna be going, because it is the county truck, and that's the way it's slated and the way it's kind of written up in the agreement with the county.
Okay, let's talk about ballpark costs. What's a tender gonna run?
Between 250, 275 we buy.
And that's new.
Yep,
Are there used ones out there?
there are.
Because I would think that there's more accessibility for a used tender than there is for a truck, a fire truck, because everybody wants it outfitted a certain way and
Right.
whatever.
Yes and no. There's a lot of used engines and aerials and everything available right now. Where we sit right now is I've submitted some information to Brindley Mountain Fire Apparatus out of Huntsville, Alabama. They are the largest redistributor of fire apparatus. I've submitted the spec and a bunch of photos and asked them to submit me back a ballpark of what they would value the truck at. They're going to give me a twofold value. One, if we were to put it up ourselves and sell it ourselves, using them as a broker. And 2, if they come back and purchase the truck, transport the truck down to Alabama, update the truck to current standard, resell the truck. So tell us what the, basically, trade in a buyout value for will broker the truck at this amount. I have not gotten an email back from them yet. Last week was a little busy week with FDIC, so I'm sure they're catching up from a lot of that.
And also in those discussions, we talked about another truck that's kind of sitting idle back there that we haven't used in a long time. That's
Rescue 10?
Yeah,
Yeah, our reserve rescue.
and that's not used very often, is it?
It's not, but it definitely serves a purpose, because it is a licensed medical unit. It does have the rescue tools on there if we were to, have to go extricate someone from the vehicle. So it's,
It's got a portable pump system where the pump system on engine 5 is fixed.
yeah. So
You can
it
take it off the road.
definitely has a purpose with the way it is. I mean, unless you were to someday look at going with another engine similar to engine 5, which is equipped with everything.
Is that kind of a low maintenance vehicle too, so it's easy to keep and?
At this point, yeah, because of the low usage, so.
It doesn't carry any water, so we don't have pump testing or anything else on it. It just gets an annual DOT for the most part, yeah.
It's an oversized version of the Yukon, which is our powerful
Correct.
What options do you have for gallons in the tender?
We would prefer to, I mean, you get all kinds of, we want to go up to 50,000, we can go all the way up there, but we would look at something between 2,500 and 3,000 gallons. I mean, Alto's got the 245s, those are kind of the oddities in the area. Pretty much the 2,500, 3,000 is kind of the key.
That's probably nice, because it's still mobile enough to take out to your accidents for blocker and stuff.
Yeah, and it
You're
wouldn't be a
not
tandem
carrying-
axle after 2,000, or after 2,500, it has to be a tandem axle. It would be a commercial Freightliner type chassis versus a custom built Spartan or whatever type chassis. So that would save, significantly up there. The custom chassis run about 190,000 versus 90,000 for a commercial chassis.
Well, those were my thoughts. I mean, we probably need more information as far as what Huntsville gets back to you on. But any comments from any board members? I mean, I feel like we ought to utilize our assets the best we can, and if we have one that's sitting there not being utilized that much, but we are lacking something else that would be of benefit.
Great idea, Jim, I really like that, thank you.
Yeah, maybe it is time to move forward on it and start, putting the information together and stuff, and then, so that we, down the road, maybe not too long, you can, put it out for bid, or out for, grant, see if you can get a grant from Englehart Fund or something to do it. But, get some numbers together, and
Well, I think
it may take a while,
what the
but.
intention is, correct me if I'm wrong, but it's hoping that 6 is going to get us almost to that spot. Selling off 6 may in
Well,
turn almost get us there.
Well,
so.
if it does.
Would you prefer that?
Mhm.
Would you guys prefer moving in that direction
Oh,
Yes.
absolutely.
sooner than later?
Yep.
I mean,
In your ideal
completes the
world,
fleet at that
yes.
point for the most
We
part.
would like to see the truck in.
That would be clearly the best decision, to be able to, if we could move forward with that, add that tender to the fleet, eliminate the engine, yes.
Then maybe we need some numbers. If that's the case, you get to put some numbers together to see.
That's what I just said
where
to
it
Corey,
is.
start specing a truck, to see what's out there that's.
Yeah, look, in your search, do two things, a new tender and a used tender.
Sure, yeah. Makes sense.
When we're
And
talking,
what the demand might be for this truck, which is what you're already
Correct.
started.
Yeah.
Because you could turn out this truck really anytime, kind of,
Uh-huh.
Yeah,
and
we own it,
maybe
so
have
we
a
can
little
turn it
bit
out
of a
whenever we
gap.
want.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Yeah, oh, yeah.
If something came up and it was like, you know what, we got someone that wants to buy it, and it's a good way to
We'd
go
be okay.
right now, and
Yep.
then maybe have a little time if we did have to
Sure.
order a new
Yeah, because
truck.
at that point, we put the word out to the mutual aid departments that we deal with frequently, and let them know, hey, we're down a piece of apparatus right now. So that's gonna, that'll put them on the alert that we're gonna maybe calling them a little sooner than normal. But even so, with the automatic mutual aid that we're dealing with the majority of the departments, we're covered, we're very well covered, so it wouldn't change the way that we respond at all.
Any other questions? Okay, we'll look for that next month then.
All right.
Okay, the last item, Sue, you want to address it?
Well, I was just wondering if anybody was interested in getting paid for the meetings, because the 6 of us are pretty much the only ones that are paid for the meetings that have to be here. And I guess my dilemma right now is I work Monday afternoons, so I'm giving up my wages to even be here. But everybody else's thoughts? I mean, most of the board members get paid. I don't know if anybody else that doesn't get paid at Lowell. Does anybody not get paid at Lowell besides us?
None of the township boards, they're all paid, yeah.
Supervisor donates his money back, doesn't he?
What about the city?
The city council is paid, the planning commission is paid, and the light and power board is paid. All of our other boards and commissions are not.
What about board of review?
Yes.
So, excuse me? Missed one.
Tim?
Yeah, same thing. Board of Review, ZBA, Planning Commission. You know, it might be $50 a meeting or something like that. Obviously, I get paid as supervisor.
They pay you for that?
Somebody does. I don't know. Magically appears.
He doesn't know how much his wife gets.
I don't know. I don't know. I just go pick up this envelope outside the hall every once in a while. It's, just kidding. So, yeah, you're not making anything at this meeting, you know, I mean, 'cause I know that, and I know you got a lot of time into doing all of this stuff. I mean,
You've got a ton of time.
you know, it's, for me, I know I'm the only township supervisor sitting here or whatever, but, you know, part of it's community service for me too, you know, I mean, but, anyways.
The thought is, I mean, as a board, I don't know if we could say we should be paid or not. It would have to go back to the municipalities to initiate that. Am I not correct?
I don't think so.
I don't think so.
Don't the municipalities pay all their board members?
Well, this is.
This is unique.
This
and
is
it's an
different.
authority.
Yeah.
We already give you, we already pay you, pay the authorities, so I would think it'd be a board decision.
You know, we have like, maybe a committee out there or whatever that might not get paid and stuff, but, yeah, I don't know. We've never discussed it at the township.
When Sue approached me, I just said, it isn't a township issue, it's the fire board that you would be paid by, and I think you'd be the one that would have to set that. Am I correct or not? Yeah.
I don't know, I've never thought about it, I guess.
Well, you're being paid.
What?
You're being paid.
Well, I'm being paid to be
Yeah.
the township
Right.
supervisor,
Right.
and, you know, like I say, I don't have to do it, you know, like
Right.
Jerry
Right.
does or doesn't, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I'm sorry to interrupt him. We have a paragraph that does say compensation. It says all board members shall serve without compensation, but shall be reimbursed